What's up, everybody? Ryan Michael Ballo here to talk about piracetam. I'm going to give you sort of all you need to know look at piracetam, the smart drug. Piracetam was, according to Wikipedia, the Wikipedia page on piracetam, was first made sometime in between the 1950s and 1964. There are reports of it being used for epilepsy in the 1930s. We're going to switch over to the examine.com review of piracetam. The URL is examine.com/supplements. /piracetam. Let's read their sort of introductory paragraph about piracetam, their summary. Piracetam is the prototype for racetam supplements, which are a group of synthetic supplements intended to provide a cognitive boost. Piracetam has a history of being used to treat cognitive impairment. According to a meta-analysis of human studies, piracetam improves general cognition, which, when supplemented by people in a state of cognitive decline, such as the kind that comes with aging. I'm going to go ahead and stop there and just throw my own commentary in on this one. Throughout the time that I've been experimenting with smart drugs, 7 years or so now, I've come to understand that a lot of publications and rooting really directly from this page and from a few other places refer to piracetam as merely exclusively being able to improve brain function in people that have cognitive impairment. And doing so by improving membrane fluidity, among other things. But I don't think that's entirely the picture. I have been optimizing my brain for quite some time, and still to this day, I get an effect from taking piracetam, even when I feel subjectively and through other markers of measurement that my brain is working quite well, that I can still make it work better than that, particularly in the area of verbal fluency and working memory. So just sort of my commentary on that. And who really knows. Let's talk about dosages, how to take piracetam. Standard piracetam dose for children. Wow, that's crazy. I don't even want to read that one because I don't think children should be taking piracetam. Standard piracetam dose for adults is between 1,200 and 4,800 milligrams a day. 4,800 milligrams of piracetam is pretty high. I mean, that's on the high end for me. I get a response from about a gram of piracetam. If I want to take it a little higher than that, I'll top out at about 1,500 milligrams of piracetam. That's me. I'm hyper-responsive to nootropics, and I do not need any more than that to experience memory benefit and verbal fluency benefit. But you might need to take 2 grams, you might need to take 3 grams, you might need to take 5 grams, and you might be fine with a gram. And that, unfortunately, I cannot give you advice on that. You're going to have to start with a dose, see how it affects you, and very carefully and very granularly move up or down. Let's see, when I get past this editor thoughts, right down to some of the mechanisms, specifically the glucose metabolism enhancement, as well as the membrane fluidity enhancements. We're going to read this sort of dumbed down version of this stuff on examine.com so folks can get an understanding on those particular topics, what piracetam is, can do. Overall, piracetam increases glucose and oxygen consumption in the brain, in brains, which precedes cognitive improvement. And then it has in parentheses, as these benefits are global, not favoring certain brain regions and more significant in cognitively impaired persons. Again, back to Examine's notion that it's really just for cognitive impairments, which I don't agree with. Both of which are in accordance with intervention in humans. The exact mechanisms, I'm sure some of you are wondering about that, underlying the enhancement of glucose and oxygen consumption are not established. So we don't really know how piracetam increases glucose functionality in the brain and oxygen consumption in the brain, but we know that it does happen. As a side note, one of the, to me, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most beneficial parts of meditation is the increased cerebral blood flow. And I think I read some research about that. I'd have to double check, but I'm quite sure I read some research about glucose as well as oxygen uptake being benefited majorly from meditation as well. After about 15 minutes of meditation, I mean, if I can sit there for 15 minutes after I get into that great state, I experience a profoundly different brain, and it feels like almost what you would think, having more oxygen and having a better glucose uptake to the brain would feel like. So that is, I think, interesting to note. Let's see, what else should we cover here? For those of you focused on mechanisms, there are, interestingly, no significant interactions with Gaba receptors, despite its origin being a Gaba derivative. Piracetam was initially formed via using Gaba, and after losing a molecule, assuming a cyclical shape, which I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess that's really essentially saying that we took GABA and minus a molecule from Gaba, and that was, at least partially how piracetam was formed. This is, I think, something pretty interesting here that talks about membrane fluidity, which is one of the reasons it might affect cognition positively. Piracetam can interact with phospholipid structures due to having a high affinity for the polar head of the phospholipid, which may underlie changes or increases in membrane fluidity. That's one of the things that we heavily researched and concluded that takes place when you take uridine monophosphate as well as CDP choline, which is why we put it together for the combination in our commercial stack Cortex. And that's why it's like rocking out there and people love it. Let's see, membrane fluidity and okay. So the dumbed down version essentially of that paragraph is piracetam appears to preserve membrane fluidity, which may be due to increasing membrane fluidity in states where fluidity is compromised. Again, taking the position that unless you've got compromised fluidity and phospholipids and cell membranes in the brain, then piracetam is not going to be beneficial for you. But again, I disagree with that. These benefits correlate to better instances of cognitive improvement and cognitive degeneration than do AMPA or calcium channel modulation or inhibition. Then it goes on to talk about some memory and cognition stuff, which I'll quick read to you, and then we're going to stop from the examine.com stuff and just talk about my experiences with piracetam. In young and otherwise healthy adults, some cognitive enhancement is apparent. These benefits are more pronounced in populations where cognitive impairment may not be present, but optimal cognition is likely not present either, such as organic cognitive decline associated with healthy aging. So I guess essentially what they're saying there is that these benefits the benefits of piracetam are more pronounced in populations where cognitive impairment may not be substantially present, but optimal cognition is not present, where people just aren't functioning optimally. And again, one of the reasons I disagree with that, at least as it relates to my experience with piracetam, is my brain is functioning incredibly well at all times. I mean, here I am today, I haven't even taken anything. I drank probably 3 cups of, throughout a 7-hour period of iced coffee through the day. The last one was at 2:30 p.m. and it's now 4:40. And my brain is functioning awesome. But I mean, I've been taking Cortex for almost 2 years now, on and off, and the proposed phospholipid, specifically phosphatidylcholine creation and acetylcholine optimization and neuron axon and dendrite outgrowth facilitated by uridine and CDP choline is probably underlying why my brain works so good all the time. But my brain works good, and if I take piracetam right now, it works better. So I will riddle you that one. So let's talk about that. I take about 1 gram or 1,500 milligrams of piracetam. I used to have to take it with a choline source because the racetams provoke the brain to use, or invoke the brain, I'm not sure what the right word is, but facilitate the brain using more of a neurotransmitter to optimize particular regions of the brain that piracetam might affect. The hippocampus is implicated in aniracetam and oxiracetam, so I suspect that that's what's happening when you take piracetam. And that what's happening is the hippocampus is just speeding up the usage of a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. So, the theory behind racetams and choline as a combination of the complex B vitamin choline in its various forms is that to supply the brain with a commensurate amount or a readily available amount of acetylcholine based on the usage of acetylcholine from the racetam in the hippocampus and possibly some other places, you might want to take a choline source with it to give the brain the quantity of acetylcholine that it needs. And in some cases that has been beneficial for me, and in other cases it didn't matter, and in some cases it was detrimental to me. So I guess that might all depend on your diet over the course of the last few weeks or month or whatever, what other supplements you might be taking, and generally leading to how much acetylcholine you might have available to use for the racetams to do their thing. So that's that. But these days, for me, because I've optimized, I think, my acetylcholine profile a lot, I eat a couple egg yolks every day, which has the complex B vitamin in food form, which is great to convert to acetylcholine. I'll take 1 gram or 1,500 milligrams of piracetam, and probably within about 30 minutes, I get, because I think my brain notices that my memory is better, my working memory is better, and my verbal fluency is better, just my ability to form sentences is better. I mean, it's remarkable either way, but when I'm on piracetam, it's just a tad bit better. That it makes me want to do work. It just gets me in a place where I want to sit down and do some cerebral work. And this is why smart drugs are so awesome, because it's so useful to have that extra ability, which facilitates a motivation to get down to do work. You know, I often talk about entrepreneurship and achieving things, just chipping away at an outcome, and I think it's important to have the brain capacity and the focus endurance and the motivation to sit down and sit on a laptop for 3 hours and get something done. Or I mean, speaking from a 50,000 foot view, engage in something over the course of 2 or 3 years that takes a long time and a considerable amount of cerebral effort for you to get done, and a lot of patience and a lot of wherewithal. You're going to want a great brain for that, and piracetam is something for if you're somebody who responds well to it, which not all smart drugs people respond to. Some people are non-responders to piracetam, but if you're responding well to it, that's going to help facilitate outcomes. Where can you get piracetam? Well, you know, there's been a major shift in the sort of smart drug arena out there as of lately. Taking one of the major nootropics sites, Powder City, out of the realm of being able to sell piracetam, or at least racetam, as far as I can tell. I know that was happening very recently. I haven't checked on it recently. Let's see, what do we got? New Pep capsules. Yeah, I don't see piracetam or any racetams on the Powder City site, but I'm sure there was a sort of derivative of Powder City, or perhaps another company. I think it was called Nutristop piracetam. Let's just Google this and see if we can find you guys some piracetam. Nootropics Depot, no. Pure Nootropics. Well, Nootropics Depot looks to have some piracetam. So that's one possibility there, that you guys can go and grab some. Yeah, piracetam powder you can find on Nootropics Depot. Now, I've never gotten anything from Nootropics Depot, but I have talked to a lot of people who have, and right now they've got some piracetam on their website for $11.99 for 125 grams, which is pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good price. And look, if the price is within $3 or $5, you know, for 125 grams, people shouldn't freak out about pricing. I see people talking about, oh, this company is $1 more than the other company. That's crazy. Stop being crazy and just buy the piracetam. You need your brain optimized. So you can go to Nootropics Depot and snack some piracetam. Powder City used to be a legit source, but there's some legal implications behind why they might not be, at least now. And I think Powder City, as far as I know, started a different company that is called Nutristop or something similar to that is now selling racetams. Actually, I just got onto their website. Yeah, and we've got aniracetam, oxiracetam, coliracetam, phenylpiracetam, paramiracetam. Let's see, I don't know if they've got piracetam, but let me check on Nutristop. Phenylpiracetam, paramiracetam. Okay, I don't see them having piracetam right now, but you can get it from the other site that I just talked about. In closing, I think piracetam is really interesting. I mean, it's been well studied. It's pretty safe. It affects me noticeably, not in a super subjective, feely kind of way, but more of just like I notice that I'm functioning better. And I like those nootropics these days much more than the stimulatory stuff. Just being able to have improvements in function. So I definitely suggest it. As for taking a choline source with it, you probably want to just try taking 300 or so milligrams of a choline bitartrate with it and see how you react, and then titrate the choline bitartrate up or down, or remove it completely if you feel like you don't need it, and that will be based on your experimentation. And that's it, guys. If you have not tried the Cortex Nootropic stack, this is our stack that we launched now in the United States. Well, it's been launched in the United States since February of 16. In Canada, we sell it in the UK, and we just launched to Australia. So I know I've been getting emails every day from people from Australia saying, hey, are you selling Cortex in Australia? The answer is yes. Our stack combines uridine monophosphate, CDP choline, a very little titch of artichoke extract, and some Bacopa monnieri for a very stimulatory, powerful stack. Essentially what you can expect if you respond well to it. Because not everybody responds well to everything, is an intense drive within about 30 minutes to do work. It lasts about 6 or 7 hours. Improve verbal fluency, improve working memory, improve focus capacity, a lot of brain energy, and for a lot of people, a lot of motivation. CDP, choline, and uridine both particularly and together work on the dopaminergic system in a way that might facilitate motivation, so it's really pretty powerful. Go to livecortex.com, snag a bottle. I think you'll love it. Read the reviews, talk to people who've tried it, and I think you're going to love it. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, guys.